This video is about how to draw a dog step by step. In the video, I'll demonstrate three methods to achieve an accurate depiction of the subject. And by practicing these techniques, you'll be amazed how quickly your own drawing will improve. For animal lovers especially, watch till the end. I've got something extra for you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. So I'm going to talk about in this video um, three techniques or methods as they occur and generally. Now, firstly, the use of the grid that you can see. It's a very pale blue grid that I've made, and it's divided into threes. So that's a very helpful system for beginning artists. You can see the image of the dog, and you can see where things cross over those lines. So it's really helpful. After a while, using this grid system, and by the way, I wouldn't make it any tighter than in thirds. It's a good composition device as well as being helpful. But you'll after a while you'll get a sort of a grid in your brain, and you can you won't require that grid any further. Okay, so looking at the picture, as you saw, you've got to be really careful of the tilt of the head. It's just at an angle, and everything is important, such as the eyes must be on the same tilt or at right angles to that tilt if you do a center line. We'll start to see various ways of plotting. Just check it very sort of carefully. Don't make any firm decisions or anything like that, because you've got to be flexible in order to change. So one of the things that I like to promote is the idea of this pencil that I'm using here. It's a 0.3 mechanical pencil, and it's got a B lead, and it's extremely brittle. I've heard other artists complain about it, but if you get one of these and just practice drawing a couple of hours a day with this pencil, you'll break it many times, the lead, but after a while you'll see that actually you're able to do it. You're able to draw without breaking the lead, and I think I'm pretty safe in saying that I haven't broken the lead in this video, but I may have been wrong in the heat of the moment. But at first it's really tricky. The little brains in your fingertips, they have to learn. It's like playing piano or playing guitar, any kind of musical instrument. At first you have a lot of trouble with it, but after a while you can change chords, and your fingers are incredibly sensitive and subtle. So this pencil will give you that skill of sensitive lines and drawing lightly, which is essential for any artist. So I guess what I'd like to say after that, the other thing about the pencil is it doesn't make grooves or indentations on the paper, which is good, especially if you're working in watercolor. So the lines are very light, and I apologize, sometimes it's a bit hard to see the image. It'll get better as we go through the video, but at first I'm just finding my way, as I would hope that you would do. Whatever I'm doing, this is the way I would like you to try it out. And yeah, don't settle on any one thing. Be very flexible, stay loose, move around. Don't try and draw the perfect eye and then the perfect nose, etc. Just move around and until you find um, until it starts to settle down, and takes a few minutes for that, because your observation skills, when you first start looking at the dog, for example, as we all do, um, you know, you're just trying to figure out the design of it, but after a while you'll start to understand very well. So yeah, it's a matter of once we've got the nose in place there, you use vertical lines. You'll see how I trace down from the corner of the eye and to the how much space on the outside of the nose and the other eye. How far is it from the nose, that vertical line? And that's once we've got something in place that's working. Once we see, okay, the nose is pretty right, so we can really use it as a reference point. It's just a matter of seeing how all other things, if for example we trace that the dog's right paw, you could trace that straight up to his nose, almost exactly, I'd say, just looking at it. So getting one thing right and then relating everything to that one thing that's right, and then you'll get two things. And once we have about three reference points, we're in control. Now, this might seem all very technical at first, but the creative side of things comes after this. Once you've got all of this technical stuff under control, then you're free. You know, you're not going to make dreadful mistakes or anything like that. You're free then to be more creative. Yeah, so that's the point. So we're going to look at this, how the vertical line, you see how much space there is between the hind paw and the front paw. So you take a vertical line from the paw, the front paw, and you'll see how much space. Likewise, if you were drawing the figure, you might take a vertical line from, say, the hip to the head, and you would see how much space either way from the head or from the shoulder, and you'd start to understand how it works, and that's really helpful for placement. And another thing I'd like to mention too is the follow-through line. This is a little bit of a bonus. I wasn't really going to talk about it because I don't like to say too many things all at once. Otherwise, it becomes maybe a bit complicated. But try to see where a line. Oh, this might be helpful for you. The little claws on the side. Uh, there's a name, it just escaped me for the moment. But see, if you take a horizontal line across like so, you can place that very well. Same way is the right paw, horizontal line across to the left paw. That sort of thing will help you to locate things in place. Yes, I'd really like to talk about these follow-through lines too. Sometimes you trace that paw that I'm drawing there. If you traced that the angle of that paw, you would see where it located. Say the inside line of that paw, that would tie up with his about halfway across his tongue, and it might go. Ah, yeah. Well, when drawing eyes, it's really helpful making sure that the tilt of those eyes is at right angles to the head, because the initial line was tilting that way. But if you draw the corners, it helps you to get both eyes in the correct position, as you can see. So instead of just trying to draw the almond shape of the eyes, draw the corners first and then build up from that. And there's no refining yet by any means. We're simply trying to place things in the right position. Once we've got that, then we've got lots of space to be creative. I haven't bothered with drawing furs, not about a texture uh, problem or anything, how to solve texture, simply um, just placement of all the various elements in the picture. Yeah, I think those eyes are working. So a little uh, bit of shading going on now. I don't like to make the nose black. I like to keep it as a drawing. It's not trying to be an exact replica, as it were, of the various tones. If you made the nose black, it would spoil the whole rest of the picture. So what I'm doing, as I said, I didn't really want to concern myself with texture, but tone is a really important thing. Now, if you look at the photograph of the puppy and you half close your eyes, you'll see the mid tones get a little bit darker and the high tones go a little bit lighter. It's a little trick that you learn, and so by doing that, you can see that the front of his body, the photo I'm talking about, is pretty light, and especially the part on the right side of his nose and on top of the nose, pretty light. So I'm just concerning myself now with the 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 right side is light, the left side is darker in tone. Even though it's a white dog, he doesn't look white because that side is in shadow. So the important thing is with tone, of course, is to get um, the ability of three-dimensional drawing. If we're using tone, we can get fullness in the 3D effect of the dog. I'm using a stump here. It's made of paper. I don't really use it that often. I just thought I'd demonstrate that there are various other drawing implements that you can use when you're using pencil. But I prefer just really just using the pencil and see what I can do with it. It's the challenge. I haven't broken that lead yet, I can see. So please, if you have a chance, please practice with a 0.3 mechanical pencil. So another reason I wouldn't make the nose very dark is if you were painting a night sky, you wouldn't paint it black, right? You'd try to have some cool color perhaps, but you certainly wouldn't be painting it black, and it just wouldn't look right. It'd be way too heavy. So if that nose was too dark, it would stand out. You'd be looking at the nose and not the whole sort of the whole pose of the dog. That little rubber I'm using there, the eraser, is a Tomo Japanese eraser. Very handy, very fine point. And with tone also, don't sort of come in too heavy and too strong. That's the beauty of using this 0.3 lead pencil. You can't come in strongly and heavily, otherwise you keep breaking the lead. So try to that's another example of being sensitive in your line work. So we're coming to the end. As promised, I'm going to show you something at the end, especially if you're animal lovers, as most of us are anyway. We're coming up to that soon enough. But I'd ask if you like the video, if you could subscribe, and more importantly to me is if you want to make a comment. I'd really appreciate it. I'm establishing a YouTube channel where I can teach drawing and painting, and it would be helpful if I know what sort of videos you'd like to see. I was an art teacher in Australia for umpteen years, and I'm pretty experienced in this sort of thing. So qualified and experienced. I taught high school and college level art. So if you could make a comment, I'd really appreciate it. It gives me an idea, and also it's great. It gives me some feedback on my just to make sure I'm going in the right direction for you. So just about to finish now, and the first thing I'm going to show you is that the horse artist George Stubbs. He's way back in 1724. He was born in 1806. He died, and he was really one of the first animal artists who was able to depict, especially horses running. He was able to depict a natural sort of gait with the horses running, whereas before they just had legs pointing out, and it wasn't very clever or so forth. But he's a wonderful artist. So here's his book, The Art of George Stubbs, and he really his ability, his knowledge of anatomy, horse anatomy, and other animals as well, is phenomenal. If you have a chance to, even if you Google George Stubbs, you'll learn a lot about animal drawing, because he wrote anatomy books, and he was able to depict very natural and very beautiful designs. Some of them a little bit on the scary side. This is a very famous painting of his, the lion attacking the horse, but wonderful anatomy, and the musculature you can see. Another example. So quite a very interesting painter, worth looking at. And now the next one is quite different. It's How to Draw Animals by Jack Ham, and I think you'll He's incredibly detailed in his work, but he gives you so much information. It's much simpler than George Stubbs, of course, but a lot to learn and a lot of really good examples. He has a series. He's back in the 1960s, and he's got a series of books, art books. Here's an example, giving the different paw designs for various kinds of animals. Uh, Wonderful. He's got books on cartooning, books on um, how to draw, figure and face, and he's worth looking at. I don't necessarily think you have to go and buy his book. You probably find it in the library. But if you want to learn all this stuff, buy the book. They're not dear. They're quite reasonable, and certainly worth a look. And he's also very good at action designs too. So I'll be reviewing books from time to time, and I'll do them much more comprehensively, not just a glimpse like this, but just a taste for you to tell you what's available. I didn't discover Jack until, maybe 20 years ago, so I'm very happy that I did. Thank you very much for watching, and I hopefully will see you in the next video.